All right, we are out here on a beautiful Pacific Northwest day, and I'm checking out the Evil Insurgent LS. Really excited to ride this bike. These long travel mullets are kind of what I'm thinking I'll go to as my everyday bike come summer, and this is one very high on the list, especially after riding the Reckoning and Offering. I just really like this Delta suspension. But first we gotta try it out and see how it goes. Before we get started, I want to thank Jensen for supporting the channel, and shopping through the link in the description helps keep the channel going. Please subscribe for more bike reviews and trail rides. And let me know what bikes you would like to see on the channel. Hopefully the volume is not too bad. I am wearing a full face after getting those stitches in my nose a couple weeks ago. Just trying to let it heal up. At the risk of sounding biased, I think the Insurgent is the Evil I really want. It's sporting 168 millimeters out back with a 27.5-inch wheel and 170 up front with a 29-inch wheel. The Reckoning was and is probably my favorite Enduro 2.9er. The Slash was good, but not as good. The Spire climbed better, but the Reckoning had better traction and was significantly more maneuverable. I have since ridden and really liked a number of mixed wheel bikes, so the Insurgent really piqued my interest. So as we usually do, gotta start with the climb, checking out how this thing handles switchbacks, how the traction is, and get an idea of the efficiency of the suspension. Switchbacks are first. That was a good one, but this is the hard one. To get out wide. Nice. That wasn't bad at all. For 170 mils up front and I want to say 160 or so out back, that handled that switchback without much trouble at all. The Geo. While I test rode the medium, I would probably purchase the large, and to keep things consistent, I'm going to show that geometry, as ridden in the low position. Also throw the Geo chart in the description so you can really dive in. That said, the 480 reach and 642 stack is so good for the steep trails I tend to ride. At 64.2 degrees, the head angle is slack enough, but keeps things playful. Evil does offer a 1 degree or a 1.5 degree angle headset for those that want to slack it out even more. The 76.9 degree seat tube surprised me, as it's nearly as steep as the Offering and climbed noticeably better than my Reckoning, which wasn't a bad climber at all. A 430 chainstay length and a 1231 wheelbase rounds things out, offering a more playful ride than the nearly 170 millimeters of travel would suggest. So how did this thing fare on the climbs? Well, for an enduro bike, I'd have to give it an A for switchbacks. I was very surprised. A lot of these bikes are getting around the switchbacks lately with the newer geometry, but it's definitely, you can feel the difference in effort, and there wasn't much effort there. As far as traction goes, of course, really good. As just about all the Evils I've ridden have been. I did opt for the size medium, which does have the seat pretty high, and it felt like I could possibly use the climb switch if I wanted to. So that's gonna be like a B plus, maybe an A minus. Now getting into the fun stuff, we are already a little wet out here. So we'll have to get an idea of what moves we're going for and what we're gonna ride around today. But feeling good. So as I said, Today we have the evil Insurgent LS. The LS did get some cool updates, but those are mostly just to make it more compatible with some newer stuff, you know, the UDH. But the new hardware is nice. It makes it a little bit easier to use. As far as drivetrain on this one, got the GX mechanical. It's kind of their less expensive option. Still a pretty expensive bike. But as I stated before, the Zeb Ultimate fork, as well as the Super Deluxe Ultimate, those are very nice to have on a bike that's made to ride like this is. You also get the code RSC brakes, nice higher rise handlebar, as well as some good sticky front rubber in the Max Grip. A little bit more longevity out of the Max Terra. I would like to see a heavier duty casing for the rear, but not too worried. It would just be something I'd swap out. And a bike yoke dropper to round things out. Whew. Yeah, got the good line again, kinda. It is a bit wet in these rocks. A bit slippery, more slippery than I thought. Whew. I can see. Whoa! Oh! Did not get that. Man! Might as well. This one's not too bad. Take two. Woo! Oh man. Been riding that 5010 a lot lately. And I forgot how well these bigger bikes will eat that chunder at the end up.
When it came to descending, this bike was impressive. I went over the Delta suspension in my offering review, so check that out if you're wondering. Today's ride went from tacky to greasy, and while I did get ejected at one point, it wasn't the bike's fault. The Delta suspension tracked the ground and clawed for traction. On the real steep stuff, the mixed-wheeled platform offers great body position, and when there was a corner to shroud or a lip to pop off, the Insurgent was happy to oblige. The Insurgent was tremendously composed through the chunk and in the steep loam. It's a really fun bike when just bouncing around the trail or even when things get spicy. So what could have been better? I have to say I really like the look of the Evil bikes and the Da Vinci chainsaw because the tubes aren't crazy big. But after owning a few bikes with in-frame storage, I cannot help but hope that every new bike in the design phase takes that into account. The seat tube could be steeper in the extra low position. I also find the Super Boost rear end to be a bit annoying, just for finding replacements. The Industry 9 wheels that came with my Reckoning were a bit of a headache, and I couldn't stomach replacing them knowing that they would likely not work on my next bike.
Never been over here, just got some intel.
All that into account, none of those are deal breakers, and I would recommend this bike to anyone interested.
All right, time for a nice steep loamer. Got a little too excited.
So who's this bike for? This is the enduro bike for the rider that doesn't take things too seriously. Shorter riders will also enjoy the mixed wheels as you can be more active on the bike. It'll gladly race, but just as much it likes to search out features and rally some shuttle laps. It climbs better than I was expecting, and because it's not super long and slack, it does a better job of generating speed on flats and out of corners. If you're the person that wants it slack, grab the Works Components angle set. I also love that you can have it as a dual 27.5-inch bike if you're really looking to free ride. Mixed wheel bikes are a great compromise for the rollover and traction offered by the 29-inch wheel, but lend themselves to a more playful spirit, especially on the steep trails I love to ride.
Ooh, that is greasier than I thought.
Final thoughts. The Insurgent does everything you want out of an enduro bike without being overly focused on racing. It doesn't mind if the trail isn't the gnarliest or steepest. Evil has fun built into its DNA, whether it's an XC Speedster like the Following, or an all-mountain trail bike like the Offering. The Insurgent may be the most fun, but that's going to depend on your idea of fun. If riding fast, hitting big jumps, and searching out your next demon to conquer is your idea of fun, the Insurgent's got your back. Let me know what you think and subscribe for more bike reviews and trail riding. Thanks for watching.